I don't know if you'd call it an OD, but all I know is that it woke me up.
Keep on the band, no, kill me, no, go down, down the stairs, and when it's lost, oh no, take me down the steps, oh still, I think I'm okay, but fuck, yeah! Keep on with the silver hair, oh no, don't despair, no, cause everyone likes you, you're fine, fucker. And no, don't give a fuck what they say. Say from, oh, well, he's gay. No, he's not. I just want to go.
I mean, it's a small town. It's a very small town.
How long have you lived here?
My whole life. It's just, it was a town growing up. There wasn't much to do. I grew up in a very Christian-based home, and yet I also was growing up at the time with a lot of struggle in the family. But behind the scenes, there was a lot of abuse going on, mainly directed towards my mom and me. My situation still were, more like it was just as much physical abuse as it was emotional abuse, where you're almost afraid to step out of any line, and you're afraid to make any sort of mistake, or else you're gonna get, whacked. As a kid growing up, you kind of just think that's a regular part of life, and you almost, you kind of are aware, like, I don't think this is set up right, but at the same time, you're a kid, so it doesn't truly, it's not completely affecting you.
There's a saying that says hurt people, and there are statistics out there that say that some people that are abused will end up abusing. So I'm sure that in Aaron's mind, he probably nobody asked to be abused. You take that and it goes in deep into your soul, into your heart, and it makes you a different person.
It was 2010. I had dropped out of high school, decided that I wanted to pursue music, and that high school had nothing to teach me anymore. I decided I was going to do it, whether people agreed with me or not, whether they wanted to support me or not. This was happening.
I was not happy about that decision, and I tried to stop him because I believe in education. I believe that a person should educate themselves, to the highest of their abilities. He would not budge on his decision, and at a certain point, whenever your kids start getting older, you have to pick your battles. And I realized that this was a decision that he was going to be making that could affect the rest of his life. I told him how I felt, that I did not think that he should drop out. But he just told me he couldn't do it anymore. He didn't want to do it anymore. At that point, I decided to allow him to make the decision for himself, because I realized he was going to do that anyway.
I just started messing around more with music. I came across a student I went to school with by the name of Tyler. We started playing in his basement. In that time period, I kept saying, like, I really want to be in a band. I want to be in a band. We should be in a band. And he's like, yeah, all right, let's do it. But we just played in his basement Abram eventually, I invited Abram and he came along, and that was Social Drift Theory. I was, at that point, addicted to drugs. So I mean, doing a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have really been doing. I was an alcoholic even already at that point. I kind of brought Abram into it, you know, and Tyler had already been suffering from drug addiction for a long time. So that's another thing that kind of just, we all clicked on. We would go in his basement, we'd get high, we'd do drugs, you know, whatever our choice was that night, and we just all kind of play along and zone out to what we were doing.
I think I was in that denial stage, like so many parents or people go into when they find out that their loved one is doing drugs. I did not want to, I mean, I knew he was smoking cigarettes, but I did not want to believe that he was doing any type of drugs. And I think for me it was pretty late, I think. I remember it was his birthday, and I don't know which birthday it was, but I remember taking a picture of him, and he did not want the picture taken, and he just gave me this look, and he was kind of gaunt looking when I looked at the picture. And his facial expression when I looked at him, I was like, that's not the Aaron that I know and love, you know. So at that point I started to realize, I think I started to come to reality.
And me and Aaron, we just kind of didn't focus on the band anymore. We just kind of focused on doing drugs.
I've used ecstasy, a lot of pain medication, like Vicodin, Lortab, methadone, amphetamines, marijuana, alcohol. I've huffed stuff before, things like NyQuil, Robitussin, Benadryl. I used profusely. It got to the point where if I couldn't get my fix any other way, I was using Benadryl. I'd pop like 8 Benadryl and, just fight passing out, and that was my high for the day. It started out with just swallowing them, and then after a while it quickly grew into actually experimenting with, crushing them up and actually snorting them. So yeah, it eventually grew to the point where I wasn't really popping them regularly. I was snorting them. I smoke cigarettes too. I was smoking, like, that started out too, just like, hey, I think I want to try smoking. And that got to the point of where I was smoking like a pack a day. My drug addiction ended up getting so serious to the point where I eventually then had a serious problem one night. I don't know if you'd call it an OD, but all I know is that it woke me up. I was rebelling and I was angry. A lot of stuff in my past, and you're starting to look back on those things with different eyes, and you're like, wait, did that? I don't remember it going like that when I was a kid, but you're dealing with that stuff, and I had a night where it actually I ended up blacking out, and I literally smacked my face on a stove and smacked, then my face and head on the floor. I woke up to somebody smacking me on my face. They were like worried, and I think it was also too like, don't die in my house worried, like, and I was like, wow, like, how did it get to this point?
I remember him calling me whenever we used to talk when we first met, and he was like almost a little bit manic, I think. He talked so much. We would be on the phone from like 9 o'clock at night until 5 in the morning.
I've always personally been a romantic at heart, I guess.
And I didn't talk very much during any of that. That was all him.
I had, in that experience, a falling out with that attitude. I had a falling out with that idea of love and stuff like that. For the longest time, it became just a matter of pursuing sex. It had nothing to do with girls.
We fought a lot. He was very angry. He wasn't a very nice person.
In fact, it actually became, it became revenge, like vengeful. It became a matter of, let's mess with women's emotions. Let's do the deed. Let's get it done. And let's toss them like a dirty rag.
I was kind of in my own little fairy tale world whenever it came to the way that our relationship was with one another, because I thought that we were perfect. And I really liked him, so it didn't really matter what he was treating me like, but he was a douchebag. He was a jerk. He was really mean.
It was, though, I guess, though, like slowly eating away at me.
Up until recently, actually, he was like that, but more so whenever he was on drugs, because I always gave him a hard time about it. I didn't accept the fact that that was just how he was. I didn't appreciate that that was how he was, because I knew that wasn't how he was. You know, I knew he was a better person than that.
I knew what I was doing was wrong, and I then tried to compensate, I guess. Tried to say, okay, well, I'm still gonna have sex, but I am gonna at least, I guess, try to treat girls a little nice.
He was just, oh my gosh, he was so mean.
I started trying to form relationships with these girls, you know, here and there, you know, try and get to know them. Still wanting to have nothing to do with them romantically, but trying to get to know them.
He would try to like say things just to get under your skin, that like he would look at your tendencies that you know that you're insecure about, and he would purposely bring them up just to throw them in your face sometimes, like if you got into a fight. He was ruthless.
It was wrong. And it got to the point of where then I couldn't even really control myself. It actually became a habit.
He's probably, his real age, like Dr. Oz says, is probably a lot older than 20 years old. That's how I would describe it. He's gone through a lot of things that some people don't ever go through. And he's had to think through some of the decisions that he's made, some of the things that has happened to him, some of the things that he has done. And all in all, I think that he's coming full circle to a point where, you know, he can, you know, he's asked for forgiveness to some people, to those people that he feels he needs to at this point. He's chosen to forgive those people that he needs to forgive. And he's accepted some of the decisions that he's made. I don't know if he's accepted all of them, but what I can see is he's working on that. And he is not the same person that he was several years ago when he was using and on drugs. He's a different person now. I can have a conversation with him. If he gets upset with me, he doesn't fly off the handle. And, you know, he has an adult conversation with me. Sometimes he does better than I do. And, you know, I've learned from him on some things, on how to forgive my past or get through some of the things in my own past. So he's been a good example, and he continues to be a good example of, you know, not, you know, you can't, what I'm learning is you can't separate your past and say, well, that was my past and now moving forward. You have to accept your past, and you have to assimilate whatever you can assimilate into the real you of who you are right now, so that you can move forward. And that's what I see Aaron doing.
Well, he's definitely more reliable. He's He's a lot, I don't know, he's a lot nicer, he's more generous, he's thoughtful of other people. He takes the time to think about what someone else might be feeling.
I originally didn't want to turn anything into anything else. I was very much attached to Social Drift Theory. I was very much attached to what I wanted to do in music. You know, kind of have my 15 minutes of fame.
He's hardworking and he's dedicated, you know. It's just he's a good role model. I think he's a good leader. He's definitely a fatherly figure, I think.
I actually started singing this song that I really do believe God gave me. And I had put away in my closet full of songs because I didn't want the world to see that song. Because it didn't showcase me. It wasn't about me then. It was about God. And it was about all the lives that could be changed with that song. And it had nothing to do with me. It was tough, but I looked up to God, and I said at one point, I said, if you want this to happen, you're going to have to do it. What's the name of it? Like, I remember talking with him, you know, and I was like, what's the name of this band? You know, I don't think Social Drift Theory would suit it. That has a negative connotation with it, you know. So what's the name of this band? What music is it going to play? I'm in new territory again. I don't know what to do. What's going to happen here? But I'm going to let you know, I'm giving it over to you. I'm on board now with it. And God then took me, I don't fully remember how he did it, but he took me to Mark, I believe it's Mark 9:37 and Luke 10:2. And in it says, for the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Jesus is talking to his disciples, and he's saying, for the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. And the verse after it even is, therefore pray to the Lord of the harvest that he would send workers out into the harvest fields, right? And I just felt it in my soul. I felt confirmed. It clung to me.
Aaron has experienced this, where he no longer wants to do things as he used to do them. So he's applying what God has done in him. He's applying the change that's taken place in his heart, his new desires to that area of his life, which is his band. No longer is he playing the same music or doing it the same way. He wants to do it a new way. He wants to do it the way that he believes honors God. So as he does that, I believe he's going to be more fulfilled. I've experienced the same thing in my life, where all the things that I thought I used to want to do either were changed with a different emphasis or were taken out of my life and replaced with something else. But the reality is that as we begin to grow in understanding God's heart for our life and we become changed, those things, those areas of our life are all going to change as well.
It made sense. Like that needed to be something. So it pretty much then God formed it before. That wasn't me, that wasn't anything. God kind of just formed it before my eyes. I was watching his hands work, and it became for the harvest. And you know, that's kind of the slogan. It's kind of the slogan of the band, you know, the harvest is plenty, but the workers are few. That's kind of like this band's mission, I feel, that he's put on this band, is that we're gonna be used to stand up and bring more people to stand up with us. You know, that's not gonna be us, it's gonna be God working through us, but that's to encourage more people. You can stand up. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter who you were. It doesn't matter even who you are right now. What matters is that you still can make a difference. You still can do something. You can wake up today. It doesn't matter who you were yesterday. You can wake up and you can say, you know what? It's not over yet. It's not hopeless.
maybe I can get up today and be used for something that's good. Maybe I can get up today and be used for something that's greater than myself, greater than all the problems I've ever faced, greater than anything that's ever happened to me, come against me. I can stand up, and if I just lay it all down, I can be used for something. I can have purpose.